Welcome aboard, I'm Mason the Argonaut, and this is the Insaniquarium Guppy Run. So, we're now on tank 4-2, or level 4-2, tank level 2 of tank 4, however you want to say it. And I went ahead and picked the pets beforehand. Presto and Prego, of course, are shoo-ins for this tank. And then I went ahead and chose Wadsworth and Gumbo so that we can protect as many of the guppies as we can. Alright, let's get going. So I spent a long time grinding up enough money for whatever the next bonus is going to be. I'm betting it's going to be 5 pets, but I don't actually know that, so we'll see. Alright, here comes the first guppy, so I'll let the breeder die. And I'm going to keep Blip going for a while, until this one dies, so that I can just feed this guppy over here. Perfect. And there we go. Now I need a second Prego. I was about to click on that, but I mean it wouldn't have done anything at least. This is gonna be fun. This is also the first with 4 pets, other than the virtual tank, which I've been having a little bit of fun with. It's not that big of an improvement, because I could just add Vert, and that's the skeleton fish. But other than that, it's pretty cool. Alright, let's make sure these guys grow as fast as possible. Look at that, 25,000 for an egg piece. They're gonna be here all night. Alright guys, here's your chance to shine. Also, there is a chance that Wadsworth can let out the guppies. So I want to kill this thing before statistics frowns on me. There we go. Okay, Presto. I was going to change him into something to fight, but not necessary. I will be going after this weapon ASAP, though. Yeah, it's gonna be really hard, especially on the last level, because I don't have the exponential growth of my fish population. I mean, I had that before because each one that I added, I would be able to buy more stuff, more fish faster. But at this point, I'm barely going along with the amount of money I've got. Though as they grow, that won't be as much of a problem. And I'll soon be able to upgrade the food. Looking forward to that. Because right now I'm feeding them just about constantly. Haha. Food upgrade. Go. And now that I've got some big ones, Gumbo will have something to do for once. For once. I should say. For once in this level. He's been helpful before. Alright, and here comes... I really hate this Bilaterus. He's so annoying. And the entirety of the spine and the other head can also eat any guppies or other fish that get caught in it. At least I'm pretty sure. And I'm not going to test to find out. Ow. Dissolve before I could get to it. Alright. Now we've got full powered food. And considering that the egg pieces cost 25,000, we might be able to see some kings this time. I think we've avoided seeing kings for just about every level so far. But of course, by having kings, that probably will have meant that we went on for upwards of an hour, which will mean that I might be cutting things or speeding up portions where I just have nothing to say, which is perfectly possible. But at this point I don't foresee that being too much of a problem. Alright, now I am less likely to lose fish because I can feed them quicker. Okay, so this is going to be a long one and possibly a bit repetitive. So let's kind of go on an actual rant about an actual topic today. Well, not so much rant as talk on something. Oh, gonna have to kill this alien first, and then I can start. Nope, stay back. Stay back. Huh, got a coin in the middle of it. That's funny. I kind of want to drive you into the upper corner so I can get the gem that you drop. It's not that important, but it's the principle of the thing. Haha, gotcha. Alright. I guess there is a maximum population of these fish that I can really sustain. After which point I'll have to, at the very least, turn Presto into either Angie or Zorf, the feeder guy. Okay, wasn't I talking about going on a ramble? Oh yeah, economics. So, this is a little thing that I saw recently, and it kind of reminded me of economic puzzles, and I have a lot of fun with economics. I'm not studying to be an economist, oops, at least not formally, but I do listen to Econ Talk and some of that stuff, and I've read Bastiat, and I watch Econ Talk, but without going into all of my various podcasts and things I listen to, I kind of like it, at least from a theoretical and a hobby kind of point of view. I really don't like as much the modeling portions, because it's a rather... that's the nitty-gritty, and which is funny because I'm studying to be an engineer, of all things. So you'd think that would be the part. Get out of there! No! No! Oh, that was close. Almost lost our entire population. Well, all except for the ones in Landsville. It'd be like a world war, losing the entire generation of young men. When I say young, these would be like children, teenagers, and then like young men to middle-aged. Well, I guess females too, but they're, for all intents and purposes, asexual. And then, of course, the kings would be 60 and above. Well, maybe 55. I might say 55 and above. Okay, way off track. But back to economics. So I saw something floating around on Facebook not so long ago, and it was actually a repost of one of the Democratic candidates' pictures. The socialist, you know who I'm talking about, if you follow it. And if not, I won't name names. In any case, what the picture says was something to the effect of, I don't get how Americans can buy cars at an interest rate of 2% on the loan, and while college students are stuck with 5, 6, 7% on their loan. Which is an interesting conundrum, to be certain. And while I would advise that y'all look up stuff like this for yourselves, and I'm going to have to kill this alien for a minute. Give me a minute, and then I can come back to talking about this conundrum. Come on, die. You know I can upgrade my gun now, so let's do that. I mean, it's really the only thing I have to spend money on until I can buy the eggs. Ugh, and it's 5,000. Yuck. Okay, where was I? Okay, yes. I remember now. Okay, so, first thing, why is this a conundrum? Because it kind of seems weird that we have not only two different interest rates on loans, but where they're applied. Because one would expect that you would want the quote-unquote better thing, the education, naturally, and I say quote-unquote because of many reasons I might or might not come back to later. You might want to ask me about my views on education in a while. I do think it's better to be learned than ignorant, but there is sort of an over-education, or at least over-formal education problem in the US. Come back to that later. And it's also debatable. Come back to that later. After this alien, apparently. I might have to try talking through the aliens. Oh, huh, he didn't eat them. Interesting. Okay. So, 2% interest rate on car loans and 567 on student loans. And then it also included like a time period, basically. It said decades on student loans, and then less. It implied that it was less for car loans. It didn't say as much, and I'm not exactly sure if it is as much. But okay, why is this? I mean, one would expect that for education to be lower because you want to encourage education, and I mean with all of the subsidies and such on it, you would expect really good rates for people. And with cars, it's just cars. And with all of the environmental sanctions and stuff, you'd expect it to be through the roof interest to dissuade it. At least that's what I'm thinking is the logic behind the conundrum. I mean, the more interesting conundrum, I think, or at least the more basic conundrum, is why there are different interest rates on it in the first place. So even put out of your mind all of the questions of which one is morally or otherwise better, and just deal with why there are different interest rates in the first place. Oops. Well, the fact is, and going through some of the different reasons it might be so, I'm not going to say that I have the final answer why it is, but I do have some ideas of why. Some theories. The first one is kind of simple. It's that generally getting a car is a smaller investment than getting an education. That is to say, it costs more to go to college than to buy a car. So it's a larger investment for anyone who's loaning money to you. Now then, of course, the education is also more likely to give you a higher return than getting a car. I mean, thinking directly, they both will grant you some return. I mean, having a car allows you to at the very least get to a job. Telecommuting aside, which is an awesome thing, but it allows you to go to a job, get to your grocery store and stay alive, and allows a lot of things that increase your productivity as a worker and as just living your life. Meanwhile, getting an education, especially collegiate, but also trade school, that increases the value of your time a lot. In other words, with an education, you will most likely go on to get a lot more money, and your productivity will certainly be increased just because you know more. And that won't apply only to the amount of money you make, but it will apply to how wise of decisions you make. In other words, it's a slightly more sure loan. Possibly. Actually, I won't say that. I won't say it's possibly more sure loan than getting the car, because plenty of people waste the money as well. And I would say that the percentage of people who waste and who use well the money, we're going to take that as constant across all of it and as part of human nature. Because, really, not to disparage the education system too much, but yeah, it doesn't... There are plenty of slackers there as well. Not disparaging any individual people or anything, but there are people who take their loans and then don't actually do things with them, or they change a bunch of times, so it's not what's expected, or something like that. But also the fact of it, so first there's bigger risk. Because if a loan on a car goes south, you're not throwing away as much money as you are if a loan on education goes south. So that's the first part. The second part... I'm trying to remember what the second part is. I got it to clicking quickly, and I forgot. It'll come to me in a minute. We've got a king! Yes! Alright, and these guys are all going to start turning into kings soon. Though I think it's a question of probability rather than just how much they've been fed. But that'll increase the amount of money that we're getting quite quickly. Okay, I was going to say something. Oh yeah. Risk. Oh yeah, the second thing about these larger loans... no, that wasn't it. Let's see. So it's risk, and its size of the investment goes to risk and higher returns. Yes. And then, let's see, questions of paying back. I'm not sure if... I'm pretty sure that has to go with the size of the investment. Because, let me put it this way. If you loaned me 5 cents... No, I'm not going to say 5 cents. That will make me seem old and like an old codger. Let's say you owed... Let's say you lent me $1 to buy a package of gum. Now, that package of gum will probably not increase my productivity in the least bit. It might a little bit. I don't know, maybe it'll make it so that I can concentrate a little bit better on some piece of work or something. And you might get some kind of a return. And then say that you put any interest rate on it. We'll even say 100% interest rate a day. Well, the thing is, a $20 loan is rather easy to pay back. Even at minimum wage, you're working less than a day, less than a full day's work, and you've got that paid off. Did I say $20? $1. $1, you're working a fraction of an hour, and that's paid off. You could even just find something under the sofa and do it. So the fact that you can get that money faster, just simply because it's less money, means that you're going to repay it faster, and you're not going to pay as much interest. So it's really not fair, then, to compare a smaller loan to a larger loan in that regard. Because... okay, and I'm changing you. You get to be Stinky now, because I don't need as much growth anymore. Haha! Now that we're kinging everyone. So... and generally, for a good education, well, for a collegiate education, I won't say quality, but for a collegiate education, you're going to need a lot more money, including living expenses, than you would for buying a car. And then part of that translates, like for the smaller loans, you'll still get the same interest rates, because renegotiating tons of interest rates and saying who gets what is kind of a hassle. And if it's smaller, you're less likely to question it. So in any case... ooh, hey, first egg piece. So yeah, that's the first reason. That's why there's such a big difference in time, is simply the size of the loan. Even if it does make... even when you get the full... I can't say full. When you get an optimal increase in your productivity and your pay, it's still going to take you a long time to pay it back. But that's just because of the cost of education. Cost of education, we can come back to that later. That's for another video. Okay, another reason why these loans are so bad is because of subsidies. I know, that sounds kind of backwards, but because these loans... oh, just a minute. Almost there. There we go. And while the subsidies really mostly go back to the cost of education, and I can come back to that later, but that's mostly why the loans are the size that they are, is because of subsidies and how that affects the nominal price of an education. And by subsidies, I mean direct scholarships from government and such, and when they're paid directly to the school. That's a whole nother discussion on why education costs so much. But essentially it comes down to size of the loan and the amount of risk associated. Okay, so what happens if we just do a new law? Because, I mean, some of these loans are, in fact, federal student loans. You have to demonstrate need, etc., but a number of them are federal student loans. So why are these loans then also so big? Why can't we just use a mandate to lower them? Like, we could, technically, but I mean, beyond the fact that you would get a lot more people taking out the loans in the first place, which would then end up raising the cost of education again and doing a lot more bad things. You can't really do that because you would be losing money faster than, well, faster than Social Security. I'm sorry, I had to say it. Yes, but faster than Obamacare. Let's go there. I mean, that's unquestioned that it's losing money. Whether or not it's getting to its goal is a different question, but it's certainly losing money. And you can't really do that, and worse even than that. I mean, that's the fiscal argument, that you shouldn't because for practical reasons. How about moral reasons? It'll encourage people to take out more of these loans. Essentially, it'll oversaturate it, and it'll make people take more risks, worse risks, and be more flippant with their time. One of the great truths, which might seem obvious at first glance, but which you really need to examine the implications of, well, I recommend you do, is the fact that people respond to incentives even outside of markets. People always respond to incentives and will try to game the system however they can. If you give the incentive that borrowing more money is good, essentially, then you will have insane problems with the amount of debt. You want to shrink student debt? Do not lower those interest rates. I know it seems harsh, but if you lower interest rates, all it will do is make the current generation going into schools have more debt. It seems like an oxymoron, but that's actually what it will do. More people will be in debt. It'll be more crippling debt because the loans will actually end up bigger in the first place. And eventually when you have to go back and pull it out again, it's just going to be worse. Again, because people are going to get used to having the low rates, and they're going to fight you lowering it, even if it's what needs to happen. And even if it doesn't affect them directly. Okay, that's my little economics rant. We're now well into the 6,000s. I've noticed that a while ago. I'm sorry, I just wanted to finish that rant. Well, discussion, lecture. Not quite a lecture. Okay, but let's go ahead and gather these, and then we can go and buy the new bonus. By the way, I hope that you get... I should have put a warning at the beginning of the video that this will include economics. I'm not going to say what my political views are. It may or may not be obvious, but I'm going to try not to be partisan while talking about these things, because these are legitimate questions and things to talk about. Oh my goodness! 7 pet virtual tank limit. I was gonna say 7 pets in the normal tank. That would be insane, but 7 pets in the virtual tank. Wow, that's gonna be amazing. All right, so I'm gonna want to take a look at that real fast before ending the video. And this is actually getting up to a half hour. Wow, which is pretty good. Yeah, buy the bonus upgrade. Hee. Only applies to the virtual tank. Void where prohibited. That's funny. I like how PopCap made this. It's really clever. I might look on TV Tropes to see what they've got on it. I don't think I've done that yet. That's one of the ways I search for being credit. I'm not getting paid for this, by the way. These are things that I actually do. I'm not getting paid to say these things. Hey, but if you want to pay me to say these things, Microsoft, TV Tropes, which probably doesn't do that, you know where to find me. Oh wow, what in the world? What's this trophy? I've got a trophy now. I'm number 1. It's got sharks, and does that mean that I bought all of the upgrades? Does that mean I won't have to grind anymore? We'll have to see. I'm gonna go ahead and grind up to 50,000 again, just to see. Okay. Let's go to. Okay, I'll feed all these guys later. I won't make you sit through this. Okay, wow. I've got 4. I can add 3 more guys to this. Who should I add? How about Stinky, Nostradamus, and who even could I add that would even be helpful in here now? I mean, Angie. Oh wait, actually, Angie would be helpful. Funny enough, because when I electrocute them, they die and leave the corpses. So Angie would help with resurrecting them. And really, I don't need Presto, because I'm just having him be Walter anyway. Presto would just need to be a copy of one of the others. But wow, what? Wait. Okay, no, I don't have any left. I wasn't gonna go through and count them. Okay. But, I mean, wow. Okay, and now we've got a trophy. I didn't expect that. Now I kind of do want to do the time trial and the challenge later to see if anything else crops up. But no, we won't be doing that. I'm gonna say that right now. There will be no time time trial or challenge. But we are gonna finish the bonus adventure with the Guppy Run. Alright, so I've got some grinding to do. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. And don't forget to look up that economic stuff. Thank you, and goodbye.